Apple's about to drop one of the most hyped releases of the year. But are we heading for a revolution or just another overpromised upgrade?
They promise a health tracker in your ear, real-time language translation, a sound revolution. The rumors for the AirPods Pro 3 are absolutely wild, but what's actually real? Health tracking, live language translation, boosted audio, features that sound like science fiction packed inside your earbuds. And what's just smoke and mirrors? Because credible reports suggest the core features might only get a minor upgrade, and new tech often comes with first-generation problems. But behind the hype, insiders warn us, don't expect a sound revolution just yet. Are we getting a breakthrough or a stepping stone? So do we want revolutionary new features or a perfect version of what we already have? It's the battle between hype and reality.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are wading through all the noise surrounding one of the most hyped-up tech releases of the year. Yep, the AirPods Pro 3. The rumors have been absolutely wild. Everything from game-changing new features to, well, some pretty serious skepticism. So the big question is, what's actually real and what's just smoke and mirrors? Let's dig in and find out together.
Just listen to this. This one line really says it all, doesn't it? Fusing high-end earbuds with a fitness tracker and a language interpreter. I mean, wow, this just perfectly captures the crazy ambition of what Apple is supposedly trying to pull off here. We're not just talking about a simple upgrade. Nope. This is a total reimagining of what an earbud is even for.
Okay, so first things first, let's dive straight into the hype. What are these promises that have the entire tech world buzzing? We're talking about features that, look, if they actually turn out to be real, could make the AirPods Pro 3 a legitimately revolutionary piece of tech. And on paper, I mean, this list is just incredible. It's a massive leap forward. You've got health monitoring that could seriously rival a dedicated fitness tracker, a brand new H3 chip that's supposed to deliver a huge audio boost, and then there's a feature that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, live language translation. Heck, even the case is apparently getting this slick, modern makeover.
But this whole in-ear health monitoring thing, it's about way more than just collecting data. Just think about it for a second. What does this mean for all the people out there who don't wear an Apple Watch? All of a sudden, daily health monitoring could be opened up to millions of new people. You could be tracking your vitals during a run or just going about your day, all from a tiny device you're probably already wearing for hours anyway. It's a genius move to expand Apple's health ecosystem. And get this might be the craziest part. Even with all this futuristic tech packed in, the rumored price is holding steady at $249, the same as before. If that turns out to be true, Apple is essentially stuffing a ton of new value into these things without making you pay a penny more. Now that is a powerful statement to the market.
Okay, but hold on. That's only one half of the story, right? For all the excitement and all the hype, there are some very, very credible reports that are, well, pouring a big bucket of cold water on these revolutionary claims. So yeah, I think it's time for a little dose of reality. Which, of course, brings us to the most fundamental question of all. Will they actually sound better? I mean, at the end of the day, they're headphones, right? With a new H3 chip and all these promises of much better sound, you'd think a big audio upgrade would be a sure thing. But the reality might be a little more complicated than that.
And there it is, a total bombshell from one of the most reliable Apple reporters in the business, Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg. This quote just completely contradicts all that hype. He's suggesting that the core functions, sound quality and active noise cancellation, might only get a small incremental bump, not a major overhaul. And that completely changes the conversation.
And that skepticism doesn't just stop at the sound. It also applies to those shiny new features, which might come with some, let's call them first-generation quirks. We've seen this movie before, right? The Powerbeats Pro 2 had heart rate sensors, but they struggled with Bluetooth bandwidth. You couldn't stream music and send hard data at the same time. So could the AirPods Pro 3 hit the same wall? And then there's the timing of it all. Another highly respected analyst, Mingji Kuo, is suggesting that the real big upgrade, the one with things like IR cameras, is actually planned for next year. So that kind of positions this 2025 model as more of a stepping stone, not the final destination.
Okay, so we've heard from the analysts and the leakers, but what about the people who actually buy and use these things every single day? What do they want from a new pair of AirPods? Well, if you look at the discussions online, you'll see a really fascinating split in opinion.
On one side, you have this sentiment right here, and you see it a lot. This Reddit user says the AirPod Pro 2s are pretty much already the perfect product. For so many people, they're already great. They nail the core experience, and the only thing they really truly want is better battery life. It's a classic case of refinement over revolution. But then, you have the complete other side of the coin. For every person saying they're perfect, you've got someone like this user who's run into really persistent, frustrating problems. They're talking about the noise cancellation mic getting clogged after just a few months. It just goes to show that for a lot of people, the fundamentals are still broken and need fixing.
So when you really boil it all down, the user wish list isn't about adding fancy temperature sensors. It's about perfecting the core experience. People want them to be reliable, they want better battery life, and the audiophiles in the crowd are screaming for true lossless audio support. You know, things like LDAC or aptX, which Apple still hasn't delivered over Bluetooth? It's a pretty simple plea, really. Fix what's already there before you start adding a bunch of new stuff.
So that begs the question, right? If so many users are asking for audio and reliability fixes, why is Apple so focused on these health features? Well, to get that, we need to zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture, Apple's grand plan for its entire earbud lineup.
And this table really lays out Apple's strategy perfectly. See, the rumor is that the cheaper standard AirPods 4 are going to get active noise cancellation, which used to be a Pro-only feature. So how does Apple convince you to spend that extra money on the Pro model to justify that $249 price tag? They have to add exclusive, high-tech features you just can't get on the cheaper ones. And boom, that's where health sensors and live translation come in. They become the key reasons to upgrade.
You know, this is also about fending off the competition. Apple is smart. They know that companies like Sony and Bose can often compete and sometimes even beat them when it comes to pure sound quality and noise cancellation. So what does Apple do? They change the rules of the game. They're turning the AirPods Pro into this essential health and communication device that's woven so tightly into the iPhone and Apple Watch ecosystem. It creates this moat of features that their competitors just can't get across.
Okay, so we've looked at the hype, we've looked at the dose of reality, we've heard what users are demanding, and we've peeked behind the curtain at Apple's strategy. It really all boils down to one simple question. Should you actually spend your money on these?
And honestly, the decision to upgrade or not really just depends on what you care about. If the idea of having a health tracker in your ear gets you excited, or if live translation is a feature you'd actually use and you just love having the latest and greatest tech, then yeah, this is probably a really compelling upgrade for you. But on the other hand, if your number one priority is getting the absolute best audio quality, and you're a bit wary of those potential first-gen problems or that report that the sound isn't getting a major improvement, then you know what? It might be smarter to just stick with your Pro 2s for now, or maybe just wait and see what next year's model brings. In the end, what the AirPods Pro 3 really represents is a potential turning point for all earbuds. It leaves us with a much bigger question to chew on. Is the future of personal audio even about the audio anymore? Or is it about health and communication? And maybe even augmented reality? How we answer that could totally change what we expect from these little devices we stick in our ears every single day.
Are the AirPods Pro 3 truly the future of personal audio, or is Apple just changing the rules of the game? Today, we're cutting through the noise. We're looking at the leaks, the strategy, and what users truly want. To answer one simple question, are the AirPods Pro 3 the future, or are they forgetting what makes them great in the first place?